Hello, dear friends. I'm glad to welcome everyone watching Sotnik-TV this moment. It's December 21st, 2019, 7 p.m. sharp Moscow time, so we're on time. We're streaming live. Thank you for being with us. Here's the first international story today. Nord Stream 2 construction has been suspended. I have predicted that would happen. Due to the US sanctions entered into force. That's it. Those enter into force immediately after Trump signs those. So on Friday, December 20th, Trump did sign the defense budget, including the sanctions against Nord Stream 2, as well as Turk Stream. The budget also includes a counter-Russian part, providing military aid to Ukraine. The amount there is around $300 million, while the total amount of the US defense budget is $738 billion. That is $738 billion, Putin. Remember that number, Putin. Whom will you fight with those miserable Iskander missiles? You say you leave silence, but you leave holes in budget, and no country will be left after you are gone. On the eve of the budget adoption, one of the subcontractor companies, a pipe layer for Nord Stream 2 from Switzerland, has announced the gas line construction suspended due to the US sanctions. Let's note such news being unpleasant, but not sudden for Kremlin. Sure, those in Kremlin were ready for that. They might have hoped to pass through that, but they were wrong. Back on Wednesday, the 18th, Peskov guaranteed the pipe construction would be complete. While answering the question whether sanctions could influence the gas line construction, Peskov said, quote, "We assume the gas line construction will be complete." He claimed the US violating international law, calling that unfair competition. Those loving apple smashing and cheese burning along with ham. Whoever but they should speak out on that. Such unfair competition example. That would be expensive and uncompetitive product imposing to European gas consumers, he said. Peskov reported that the move of Washington was not welcomed either by Moscow or by European capitals. By those he probably meant Angela Merkel or Gerhard Schroeder, that gas man receiving money from Miller, whose guts were bought. Nevertheless, we don't know the way Peskov will complete the construction. Will he do that himself, crawling down the bottom of Baltic Sea? Putin could do that as well, being a diver. He could dig out few more amphoras during that, but those in Kremlin are still unsure about those hallucinations. That was the story I just couldn't pass by and had to reflect that somehow. Another Putin's press conference took place on Thursday. That lasted for more than 4 hours. Putin likes starving people out. He would lie for several hours in a row, demonstrating his stamina and liar's physical condition, showing his health, so that no one expects anything, as the entire world can see that he lives vigorously. The brightest characteristics of his manipulations was posted on Twitter and was rapidly spread all over the source and beyond. Many of the internet shared that, so let me quote. During Putin's press conference, a paralyzed old man got up and turned that off. Sure, I got sick watching that. But as you may see, I've survived that. Though I had to take a shower and watch that off afterwards. In order to keep people from posting all that, from receiving news and free communication, from watching Sotnik-TV free, just as you are doing that now, even though in some places you already don't. On Monday, December 23rd, a drill will be held. That will be another drill on isolating Russia from the free internet. The term drill sounds quite military. That emphasizes the military conscience of Kremlin gangsters. They're at war already, conducting drills. We're on the brink of war, so let's exercise. Let's shut the country and keep the enemy away from our fortress. Let's Bristol completely. Bristol that completely. An IT specialist from the city of Petrozavodsk wrote me the following letter, asking not to give out his name. Quote, "Even before the sovereign internet testing in Ural region, about a month ago we experienced problems with internet connection. No details were given, we simply couldn't reach any websites. Sometimes we could open Yandex or Google engines, while the local web was working just fine, but not the internet. Sampo, our local internet provider, reported no problems and supposed some issues on our end. We finally managed to have their man come over. He checked on a site and found no problems as well. Meantime, he told us that could be Roskomnadzor. He said that was impossible to confirm officially. We switched to CityLink provider in a couple of days. That started working right away without any problems, but after a month, the provider started experiencing the same symptoms. A man working for that provider suggested they had connected a box already. That was probably used for deep packet scanning. They were apparently setting that up. I never thought that thing would get to outskirts that fast. A storm is coming and everything will be ruined." End of quote. Dear IT specialist, let me tell you that those in Kremlin are upset with the results of that drill in Ural region. They want to spread the experience and tighten the conditions. They will break it all without mercy. They have broken the state, they have broken the economy. Now they will complete breaking internet. They will break banking as nothing will be functioning without internet. Then they will start breaking the entire planet. They will break the life on our sinful earth, as their motto already is, "We live silence." Even their loneliness and isolationism can be saving them until a moment comes, and they know that. It's impossible to stop aging, and they will still have to die. Yet the freedom itself, information spread freely, non-distorted and up-to-date, makes a grave danger for their authority. That means danger for themselves, as after their authority is gone, their lives are gone as well. That will be it. Progress moves forward and technologies are constantly updated. So, if you are scared to go out sweeping Putin, he will shut the cave. He will turn your life into nothing but a nightmare, as it's either him or you. Don't you cry for Western medicine gone and replaced by native disaster with side effects. That concerns you. That becomes your problem already. That's your everyday problem now. I wish I had that, but I can't, as that has been banned. You or your friends said that for a long time. The majority in Russia said that wasn't their problem. Well, it is now. That is some internal and external isolation. Putin is shut in the cave with some rock on the inside, and those outside don't wish to meet Russians already, as those are some wild people, not wishing to obey no rules. For some reason they like to steal and to sin the subjects of their stealing. They say we own Crimea. Once you own it, you need to stay in that cave. Dear caveman, you are still represented by an international terrorist on the world stage. He puts women and children in front of himself. Do you remember him promising to stand behind them? Not in front, but behind them. That is some terrorist tactics. Putin, that terrorist, represents Russia to the world. And you don't stand against that. Well done. Good job. The cave is dark and scary. That's what a cave is supposed to be. Your leader, grow in wool, can offer you nothing but that. Just some fear turning into horror. Just some creeping madness turning into some clinical insanity. Polish provoked Hitler, according to him. Is that so? Lenin broke the USSR, according to him. He didn't place an order to create the state in 1923, but broke that. That must have happened right on Butovsky side. Yet Putin considers the USSR collapse some great geopolitical catastrophe. Yet he is not going to step away from power and is willing to change the constitution by removing term in a row from it. He lies even there. He wants to remove not the term in a row, but any mention of any terms. He will do that. May there be million terms. He would love that. He is sick, that Putin. Boris Nemtsov was right calling him insane. And those present at that press conference were sick as well, like that Gamov, for say. He was licking that bald spot and everything above that until it shined obscenely. Yet, I must say that Putin's lies started returning back incredibly fast. From the historical perspective, that was instant. Before he lied about murderers walking down European cities. What a brilliant thought. That boomerang returned to him literally in several hours, and stuck into his skull, swinging. He attended a concert dedicated to special services, sitting there with Bortnikov having fun. Meanwhile, Yevgeny Manurov started shooting, whether that was inside Lubyanka building or nearby. First they reported 3 assailants, then they began filtering, whitewashing and fixing the information. Now we may conclude there is nothing left of the initial information that looked like true and was probably given of sheer panic. So they only broadcast some officially approved details. The most important thing about that accident is that even according to the official information, that lonely shooter managed to alert the entire country. Let's accept the fact that he was alone, yet managed to overplay the mightiest special service in Russia. He overplayed the special service that had reported everything under control, that showed total helplessness and reluctance to resist sudden danger. Please try not to go crazy along with the majority that is turning mad. Stay sane. The goal is to still be yourselves, to keep reasonable and to save yourselves. So take care of yourselves, of your hearts and souls. Stay with us. Watch Sotnik-TV.